Okay, people of YouTube, that is this platform. We are. Thank you for joining me. I am happy to have you here. May. It's a month, in case you didn't know. And actually, matter of fact, speak of the devil, it's a month that just happened. Wow. So let's run through it. I'm gonna take every little thing I listened to, watched, thought about, and I'm gonna put it in this. I'm gonna put in this video. And I'm not only gonna put it in this video. I'm gonna rank it. Yeah, we're about to rank it. We're getting a little crazy in here. I have done this for every month so far this year, so if you're curious, you can watch all the other ones. But let's get this shit fucking rocking. Let's get into the first, well, not first. We're getting to number 16. Hey guys, editing Dayton here. I actually fucked up the numbers the whole time, so every number ranking that I say out loud, you'll see it's not the exact same as in the video, because I was wrong for most of the video. But I correct myself eventually at like number 3. So I'm just letting you know now why the numbers are not exactly what I'm saying. That is why, because I am Iron Man. Fuck this movie. This movie is Tusk. I watched this movie. Well, I watched, I think, the second half of it. I do not need to watch the first half of it. The second half was painful, utter garbage. At first, when I first joined, because basically I went over to my friend's house and they were already watching it, and because we were listening to the new Billie Eilish album together, and they were already watching it right before I got there. And so I joined halfway through. And to be honest, the part that I joined in, if you've seen the movie Tusk, if you haven't seen the movie Tusk, it's some bullshit. Don't watch it. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it. If you have seen it, if you have seen it, I joined at like a few minutes before they're at that like dinner scene where the main evil guy or something is talking to the guy in the wheelchair. I joined a few minutes before that, but that's like the first scene I really remember watching. So whatever the fuck happens like the 5 minutes or 10 minutes before that. And then that is what I started watching. And I, to be honest, was kind of like, oh, this is interesting. I'd heard of the movie Tusk before, only from just knowing that I knew some crazy shit happened. That's all I can remember. And I think as soon as this movie reaches the point of, well, I actually don't know if the beginning is good or not. Maybe the beginning is, I'm just going to assume the beginning is good. Because the part I joined in was good. And I thought the guy monologuing was good. I thought it was a little too long. And oh boy, if I thought that was a long ass monologue, holy shit, just wait till Johnny fucking Depp shows up and fucking ruins everything. Well, actually, he doesn't ruin everything, but he is easily the worst part of the movie in my mind. Easily, like, actually made me, like, viscerally frustrated at this movie. Because Johnny Depp shows up, and it's like, it looks like almost if a student film got Johnny Depp. You know, if I'm like a 19-year-old kid in a film school and I get fucking Johnny Depp in my movie, I'm gonna make Johnny Depp do fucking everything. I'm gonna make him not shut the fuck up, and I'm just gonna let him fucking act for no fucking reason. But I have to, because I don't have access to fucking Johnny Depp. This is like if that happened, because all that happens is Johnny Depp fucking shows up in the third act and he doesn't shut the fuck up. Get rid of him. He's so pointless. He makes what was, at least from what I watched, a kind of like a twisted over the top but like suspenseful kind of thriller movie. He turns that into the fucking Pink Panther with Steve Martin. That guy, the one with Beyonce, he's in that one. I love that movie. But that, it's like if a shittier version of that shows up in the third act of a fucking like serial killer thriller movie. It makes no fucking sense, and it's dog shit. It's awful. I don't even think this movie is worth me being this frustrated over, but it was baffling to me that this movie was made, because that's not the only bad part. Everything at that point is awful. I'm kind of like this main character who's getting like tortured in this weird like super over the top like it just felt like someone wanted to make a dark and twisted movie, but they also wanted, it's almost like they were aware that they were being very over the top of being dark and twisted, so they made it comedic. And none of it fucking works. None of it worked for me. All of it was conflicting in the worst way possible. It felt like I just could not be Like the movie's fucking tone shifted all over the place, and it just made me not care about anything that was going on, and actively made me want to just stop watching this movie. The actual like crazy torture type stuff too is also like really fucking boring. The whole walrus shit is so fucking boring. Like, it all builds up to that, and then it happens, and I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking boring. Like, it's just, the third act is so awful. That's basically all I watched. But the third act pissed me off so much. So really, this is me ranking Tusk's third act. And Tusk's third act is one of the worst things I've ever fucking watched. The little bit I watched when I joined it was not that bad. But oh my god, did it get worse and worse. And I kept gradually being like, oh, I don't think I like this movie. And then I just kept being like, I think I really fucking hate this movie. And it's tough to make me hate something. I mean, I just went on about this. I just went on about it.
Hey guys, Editing Dayton back here again with a new update. I, in fact, did just go on about that thing, but I did not put that in the video because I did not want to waste your time. I did not want to waste your time. I, in fact, went on about it. I promise. I know you'd be maybe like, Dayton, what the fuck are you talking about? You went on about that thing, but you didn't in the video. But I did in real life. And that's the magic of movie. That's movie magic, guys. And that's editing magic. And I went on my little computer. I went, cut out because I went on for too long. And that's a problem. And we need to stop that. Because sometimes I'll be talking. And I'm talking and yapping. And I go on and on and on and on and on. And I don't stop. I don't know when to stop. I don't know when to stop talking. I just can't stop. I physically cannot stop myself from talking. It's crazy. But I'm working on it. And we're making great progress.
It's tough to make me hate things. It's so hard. You have to try so fucking hard. You really do. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, which is what I was even doing when I came in halfway through the fucking movie, and I'm like, oh, this is okay. I think this monologue's a little long. I think it's very over the top, but that's okay. Do not watch this movie. If you do like this movie, though, and you are watching this, please comment and tell me why. I would love to hear from someone who is, like, I'm not trying to get in an argument or anything. I don't even want to argue about it. I mean, I said everything I have to say. I would just love to hear the perspective of someone who watched this and was like, oh, this shit goes crazy. I would just love to hear that. Because I cannot imagine why the fuck anything in this movie fucking exists. Okay, now we're done with that. Now on to fun stuff, because I don't have really anything else negative that I've experienced this month. Well, negative things did happen this month, obviously. But out of the specific, like, media that we are about to go through, that was easily the only thing that I would say was, like, bad. Okay, number 15, Clancy by 21 Pilots. This album, I listened to because I actually liked the idea that there was music videos for all of it. And I was kind of like, I want to listen to a new album, and there's music videos for all of this one. And I did really like one of the singles. And I was very curious if they would maybe have two songs for that, because I'm not a very big 21 Pilots fan. I liked Heathens when it came out, when I was however old I was then. Not the same age I am now, I can tell you that much. And probably not the same age I was last year. But I really liked Next Semester. I really liked the single Next Semester. That shit goes crazy. To be honest, one of my favorite songs of the year, which I did not expect coming from 21 Pilots. So I was kind of like, this album might go crazy. And I liked the production of Overcompensate. I forget what the third single, I think it was Backslide. I fucking hate Backslide. Backslide's garbage. I did not like Backslide. And I mean, it's not garbage, but like, I mean, it's not, I do not like that song. Like, I really don't like that song. Sometimes 21 Pilots have very pop-centric songs that I really don't like. But there are 21 Pilots songs I do like. Like, I think there's the Tear in My Heart or whatever. I like that song. I liked Heathens. I don't like it as much as I did when I was a child. But as a child, I really liked it. And now I'm like, it's an okay to good song. Like, you know, like, it's in that area where I'm like, if I listen to it, I'm okay with listening to it. But I don't really seek it out that much. But Next Semester's great. But this album is very, to me, it sounded, I could very much feel that it just felt like 21 Pilots, at least right now. I'm not a 21 Pilots aficionado by any means. But I just felt like they had no ability to not make stuff as generic and commercial as possible. Like, it felt like it was almost a struggle to try and not be that way. Like, in the there's just so many, like, cringe and corny moments that just kind of ruin songs. Like Overcompensate gets ruined by the rapping lots of the time. But I do like the production on that song, and I do like parts of the vocals, but that ruins it a lot. I think that one song, I forget which song it is, but it's like the one that Tyler wrote for his wife. I thought that song was not good. And the main reason is because, like, everyone knows he's writing to his wife. And, like that is what, like, it's very obvious that is the song. I'm pretty sure it's in the title. But, like, that song could be about fucking anyone. That song could be about literally anyone. I don't, like... It just, if someone wrote this song, like, I wrote this song for you, I'm like, that's very sweet. That's very sweet of you, and that makes me feel very loved. But did you really write it for me, or did you just write it about the concept of loving someone, and you just happen to love me right now? Like, it did not feel like a song written to someone. It felt like he wrote words that were about love. That's just the biggest problem I found, is just that they can't, like, they're trying to do something more alternative, but it can't break fully into that. It just can't get there very often. Next Semester goes crazy, though. Listen to Next Semester, but that's how I feel with that album. I don't hate the album or anything. I thought the album's fine. I think the album's perfectly okay. I think it's a perfectly okay 21 Pilots album. There's really not that many bad songs. Backslide, honestly, might be my least favorite. I'm not going to run through all the songs, but if you're curious about my thoughts on one of the songs, go ahead and comment. Number 14, Pearl. I watched Pearl. I also watched X. I hadn't watched either one of them before. And I feel very similarly about both of them. I liked Pearl. I liked it less and less as it got towards the end, to be honest. I'm very anti, like, serial killer shows or movies or anything like that. I just really do not find, like, the obsession with serial killers or these dark, twisted people really that interesting. I found it very interesting when I was a teenager, and I think that I just kind of... There's a lot of reasons. It's very complicated. I'm not going to get into it, but I really struggle to like those kinds of things. I'm also very anti-horror movies. This is a thing that people will learn about me probably. I'm very anti-horror movies. It used to be when I was a kid, when I was, like, very young, I was too scared. Then as I got older, I have this kind of, like, almost like gut reaction to horror movies that just it just makes me, like, fucking cringe. I just can't handle it. I don't really know where it comes from, but it's just always feels so, I don't know. I just really don't like watching them. I just am either so fucking bored or just, like, cringing out of my mind. It's usually one or the other. I do find that I do not have that problem with X and Pearl. Actually, fuck it. X is next. So number 13, X. I'm lumping both of these together now. I'm talking about both of them. It's so much easier for me to just talk about both of them at once. Okay, X. I watched this one first. X, I like both of them. I like them both a little bit, though. I don't love them by any means. But I think I like X more because I do like the way that it works with I think that there's a lot more fun that is had in the way that everyone's being killed and taken out. It's like, feels very classic, like, slasher movie. I did like that, and I thought that there was a little bit of an interesting kind of, like, villain who is Pearl that is, like, is jealous that she is, like, I like the combination. I don't know what the fuck I'm going on about right now, but I like that shit, okay? We've established that. I like that shit. I think it's good. I don't love it. I think it's like, it's just not something that is very much my taste. That is really the biggest thing that holds it back to me, is that I do not have a taste that necessarily, like, it's not something that I would ever want to make, you know? Like, it's nothing that I would want to be made. And so that obviously is going to hold this movie back. And really, that's the biggest problem with it. The biggest problem with this movie is that I just do not really care for movies that are like it. And so I also don't really care for this movie. And that's fine. That happens. Not everything's for everyone. But I do like it, and I like Pearl, actually, more in the first half than I like X in the first half. but I like Pearl's second half less than X's second half. I think X's second half is at least more fun. I think Pearl's, I don't know, it just became a lot less interesting to me, I guess. And I think that it's so obvious what's gonna happen that it's really not that engaging. Where with X, there's a lot more questions, and I think that makes X work a little better than Pearl. Pearl, there's really no questions, because you already know who this character turns into, and you can kind of assume what they're gonna fucking do in this movie about them. So it's very predictable, and I think that holds it back, especially when it tries to be very suspenseful, or when she goes on very long monologues about all these things, and it's like, I know this is just gonna lead to you killing her, and so I'm not really like it's supposed to be this like very like almost like deranged character who is like a loose cannon almost, but it doesn't really feel like a loose cannon if I'm already assuming that she's going to shoot, you know, like it's like a loose cannon that I already know is about to shoot the thing. I actually don't know how I'm using the loose cannon analogy. Also, I'm fucking yapping in this video. I have so much to say. This is the most I've said in any one of these videos. This might be the longest one. We are through 3 things so far. But yeah, those are my thoughts on X and Pearl. I think that's a substantial amount of me talking about those. So let's run to the next one. Number 12, Almighty So 2 by Chief Keef. This is my first ever full Chief Keef album. I've never listened to a full Chief Keef album before, and now I want to, and I think I will, because I had tons of fun. To be honest, from this point on, I would say everything is in I love it territory. Like, I would genuinely, from now on, I love everything that's in this list. May, I went crazy in May in terms of what I chose to like watch and listen to, because she was great. Yeah, the Chief Keef album, I was listening to it while I was driving back from my girlfriend's, and it was pouring rain, and I was driving through these like back roads, just kind of winding through them, and it was like real raining. It was really fucking raining, and it was honestly so great. It was so much fun. I was having a great fucking time, and I mean, I feel like that's all I could ask for from a Chief Keef album, is I just had a great fucking time. And honestly, when I was putting this list together, I was kind of sad that I had it this low, but then I kind of realized that everything above it, like there's some tough competition this month. I'm sorry, Chief Keef, but you got some tough ass competition this month. But yeah, it was great. So Chief Keef, if you were looking for my validation, you got it. Number 11, Dark Times by Vince Staples. I have listened to a Vince Staples album before. I think the only full Vince Staples project I've listened to is like the self-titled one. Outside of that, I don't think I've listened to a full one. Like, I haven't listened to all of Big Fish Theory. I've listened to some songs off of it. And like, I've listened to quite a bit of Vince Staples. I understand what I'm getting into if I'm listening to Vince Staples. And I really liked this album. I thought this album was great. I would be lying if I said I could fully tell you why. Because that day I listened to like multiple albums, and I was so busy that day. Like, I was listening to it while I was doing other things. And so I can't really remember why I loved lots of it. But I really did. And I remember thinking it was heartfelt. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that. I will say, out of everything I've heard from Vince Staples, this is definitely some of my favorite stuff he's done. I thought his rapping was great the whole time. I remember that. I thought the production was good. I just think it's a very, very, very solid album. Very good Vince Staples album. Number 10, Only Dolphins by Action Bronson. This is my first Action Bronson album that I listened to today, because I've been wanting to listen to Action Bronson, and then today I just said fuck it. Why I chose this album, I don't know. I like dolphins. So I chose this album to start with, and I thought it was great. I could totally see myself becoming a huge Action Bronson fan. Like, I thought this was real good. And so yeah, I'm excited to listen to more Action Bronson. And yeah, let me know if there's any Action Bronson that I should listen to, or if there's any Action Bronson knowledge that I should know, things about him, because I don't really know much about him besides that he has very colorful stuff, and I follow him on Instagram, so that's how all the information I know about him is through that, as of like a week or two ago. Like, I've known about Action Bronson for a while, and to be honest, one other thing that I think is actually maybe more interesting in listening to Action Bronson, it's that there's like that one Twitter account. So yeah, I listened to some Action Bronson. I thought this album was very good. And I'll definitely be listening to songs from it again, probably the whole thing again too. Same with the last 2 albums too. Like these albums will all be pretty high up there in terms of, well, I guess this album did not come out this year. The other 2 will be up there in terms of albums I've listened to this year. Probably not like a top 5 choices, but they could be in the top 10 for sure. Number 9, Futurama. So this might lead to a potential video in the future, I think. The idea came to me today because I started watching Futurama like 2 days ago. Because I've never really been into like those like adult comedy animation shows, like, or however you classify them, like your Family Guys, your Simpsons, your American Dad, your Futurama, all of that type of shit. I've never really been into them, but also because I never really watched them, especially growing up. Like most people who I know who watch these, at least in high school, are watching them a lot. Like these, like if they're big fans of these shows, it was very much like in high school or younger that they were watching them, and a lot of like nostalgia is attached to it. And I think that makes sense, but I don't have any of that because I just never watched them or was never around people who were watching them, except for Futurama, I think, as a kid, because Futurama is the only one that I really remember, because I remember as a kid it would sometimes come on TV, and I had this fear of Futurama, and I think it was just because it was like the adult, maybe it was just on a channel that I would watch a lot as a kid, where it would come on late at night, and as soon as it would come on, I'd be like, oh my god, is anyone watching me? I can't be watching this. This is for adults. I can't watch this. And I remember having that reaction. And that's the only memory I have of Futurama. And then back when I was in Whistler in April. Here's the full story. I watched like an episode or 2 of Family Guy with my girlfriend because she loves Family Guy. Or at least she used to. Just watch very much anymore, but she used to love Family Guy. Probably, I think still does. But I started watching Family Guy a little bit, and I had always not really liked Family Guy, but I watched it and I started to understand the appeal. But from my limited exposure to Family Guy, I was like, I did not like Family Guy. And so then it started getting me more interested in the idea of like, I don't really watch comedic TV shows. I kind of connected I never really watch comedies in terms of like comedic TV shows, and so then I kind of wanted to, and then my friend started watching Futurama. I watched 1 episode with him, and it was like the first time I ever really watched Futurama, even though I deeply remember it as a kid. I never really watched it as a kid because I was trying not to watch it. But I remember little bits and pieces of it. Or at least I remember the act of seeing it much more than something like, I think Family Guy I remember a little bit. I don't really watch like The Simpsons or anything else. I remember a little bit of Family Guy. Like I remember seeing the people watching that sometimes, and then Futurama. And so I was kind of like, I kind of want to see what it would be like to just watch some Futurama. So now I'm like 6 or 7 episodes into it, and Futurama goes crazy, to be honest. I like Futurama quite a bit. And so yeah, I think I might do a video where I go through like all of these kind of animated TV shows, like Family Guy and The Simpsons, stuff like that. And I want to do like a tier list or like a ranking of them, because I feel like it would be fun, because I come from such an unbiased point of view, because I have no nostalgia for any of them besides Futurama, from just me being scared of it as a kid, and I think that's adorable. But yeah, I think it'll be very funny. I think it'd be very fun to visit all of these and make a video about that. So I might be doing that in the future. So yeah, if you're interested in that, it might be here within the next like year. I have no idea when, but I will promise you that either the video will be out in less than a year or never. That is my promise. If a year from today, if you go on my YouTube channel and it's not there, it's never coming out. But if it hasn't been a year yet, there's still the possibility that's coming out. But who knows? I'm the least consistent YouTube channel video poster there is. But that's enough about Futurama. That was a good amount. I don't actually know if I talked much about Futurama at all, but that's good enough. I gave my general idea. Number 8, Dune 2. Dune Part 2, actually. Actually, Dayton, correct that. It's Dune Part 2. I watched this movie in the movie theater again, but with my friend, because he hadn't seen it, and he had also not seen the first one, so we watched the first one, then we watched the second one. And I guess I didn't put the first one here. Who fucking cares? I ranked both these movies and talked about them back in the February video. I'm not really going to talk about it again, but I did watch it again. It's lower on my ranking, not because I like the movie any less, just because I didn't want to, like, put this movie at the very top again. Like, I just put the experience of watching, like, my experience watching it the second time was definitely not as good as the first time I watched it. And that's just because the first time I watched it, I was so great that obviously the second time would not be the same because I already have seen the movie. So I just thought it'd be fair to put it a little bit lower. Number 7, Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. New Billie Eilish album. I've been a Billie Eilish fan since, I guess, most fans of Billie Eilish became fans of Billie Eilish. And which I guess it has been quite a decent amount of time since then now. And if you're curious about how I feel about Billie Eilish's previous work, I think she's gotten consistently better with each album. I know some people don't like Happier Than Ever as much as When We All Fall Asleep Where We Go, and I guess it's okay to be wrong sometimes, but it is better. Happier Than Ever goes crazy. Happier Than Ever is great. So is When We All Fall Asleep Where We Go. I think Billie Eilish really hasn't missed. And some people I will see claim that Happier Than Ever was a miss, and I'm like, that's fucking crazy. Because I do think Happier Than Ever is better than When We All Fall Asleep Where We Go. I think Happier Than Ever's problem, though, is that it has too many songs. And it could have the same amount of songs and that not be a problem, but it has too many songs that are just a level below. It has songs that could have easily been cut. Everybody Dies, easy cut. Male Fantasy, I could understand if you get rid of it, but I think for sure Male Fantasy and Everybody Dies both should not be on the album. At least one of them should be gone. And I would way rather keep Male Fantasy. I really don't see a problem getting rid of both of them though. And there's some songs like Haley's Comet I think is fine. Like I think it's like there's a few songs that are just kind of like fine that I think stop it from being as solid of a track list as When We All Fall Asleep Where We Go. However, I do think there's more songs on Happier Than Ever that I do think are substantially better than When We All Fall Asleep Where We Go. Like, I would say most of the album I think is better than When We All Fall Asleep Where We Go. Like, than all of the songs on there. And so yeah, so that's how I feel. Happier Than Ever I like more than When We All Fall Asleep Where We Go. And I was very excited for this album, and what I really wanted was for Billie Eilish to just cut down, like be more specific with the songs she chooses to put on there. Don't just put some random shit. Like, I don't want a track list that just feels like you did not care enough to craft a full listen. Like, I don't want it to feel like you're just throwing in songs to throw in songs. That's just gonna bring down the experience for me a little bit. And I wanted her to fix that, and she definitely did. I mean, this album's only 10 songs long. Each song is very, very like, they do everything that each song could do. I feel like they explore each idea fully, where I feel like some songs on previous Billie Eilish albums had the problem of I don't think she explored it in the most interesting way, or I don't think she explored it fully. This album I don't think has that problem at all. I think they get an idea and they explore it fully and take it in all the directions it could go. Obviously not legitimately, it could go any direction, but I do think they explored these songs a very substantial amount, and I'm very happy with that, and I think that's great. I think the entire soundscape that they crafted for this album is great. Works so well with the album cover. I am excited for a potential second side to this, because I know there's tons of rumors around that. That'd be sick, because I do think that her and Phineas are, it just really feels like they do love this album, and it also feels very confident. This album feels very confident in its choices, and I like that a lot, because I feel like on some other Billie Eilish stuff, you can some stuff doesn't feel like they're as confident while doing it. This feels very confident, like they're just taking much more bold choices and just doing what they want, just trusting their own taste a lot more, and I like that. And I would say this is probably my favorite Billie Eilish album, and to be honest, I didn't think it would be this low on the list, but this month just had a lot of great stuff. But out of all the things that are from this month that came out this month, I think this is still up there quite a bit, because there's stuff ahead of this still that's from previous years. But yeah, that album goes crazy. I highly recommend listening to it. I think if you like Billie Eilish, obviously listen to it. If you haven't, then I would be so confused why not. You don't need me to tell you. And if you don't hate Billie Eilish, I would say listen to the album, because I do think it's a good album. and probably my favorite like mainstream big release that's happened this year. I mean, it's this and like the Beyonce album. What else has come out that's been good? I guess I did listen to the Taylor Swift album, and I realized that I never had that in the last video. I don't think I did. That album I think is fine. No, I think Taylor Swift could have done a lot more, because I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. Taylor Swift could have done so much better, and I did not listen to like the anthology. I heard some people talking about how that was better, but I did just listen to the base album, and the base album should be fucking good enough. I should not need to listen to the anthology, the fucking 2-hour version, to be able to like the album. But I think it's probably my least favorite Taylor Swift album I've heard, and it just kind of sucks. It was just kind of sad, to be honest. But out of all other big releases this year, I mean, I feel like this year's been great for music, but not really in a big album way, like a big mainstream album way, and I think that might change for sure, because I mean, there's a rumored Kendrick Lamar album and tons of other things that are coming out. There's so many albums that I'm excited for to come out, and yeah, so I think albums this year will not be a problem towards the end of the year, but right now I do think that it's a weaker spot of music right now. I guess the 21 Pilots album obviously I have a lot lower too, so yeah, I think the Billie Eilish album and then the Beyonce album are probably up there, and I just don't care for... I'm not a country fan, so I think I just lean towards the Billie Eilish album more. And just because it has aesthetics and things that I like a lot more. And I mean, it's my favorite Billie Eilish album. Cowboy Carter is not my favorite Beyonce album. Feels like an easy choice there then. And I probably like Billie Eilish more than Beyonce. It's close though. I don't know. I have more like personal connection with Billie Eilish's music than I feel like I have with Beyonce, and I think that's just because I was listening to Billie Eilish. I'm only like a year younger than Billie Eilish, so I've been listening to Billie Eilish at the same age as she's like releasing stuff. It just feels like I'm listening to someone who's the same age as me, who has always been like going through things that are similar to me. I mean, I guess not as much anymore, but I felt like with her original music, like her older music, the reason why I connected with it, even though she was not going through things that I'm going through entirely, but it felt a lot more like I could connect to. Where Beyonce, I don't know how much me and Beyonce necessarily have in common. You know, like, I don't know, like, it's not like I would ever think that, oh, me and Beyonce would totally be friends. Like, I guess maybe, but I would have no reason to think so. Like, you know, like, it does not feel like a person who I'm necessarily have much of a personal connection to. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6, Challengers. This movie goes fucking crazy. I love this movie. To be honest, this is up there as one of my favorite movies of the year so far. It's up there with stuff like Dune 2. What else is coming out this year that I've loved, movie-wise? I can't think. If someone watch my previous videos and tell me, I'll go back to them at the end of the year. But I can't think of anything right now. But Challengers will definitely be up there for one of my favorite movies of this year. I mean, if you haven't seen Challengers, it goes crazy. If you love triangles, I guess it doesn't get better than this. And I like tennis as well, so this worked out perfectly for me. I feel like most people I've also seen like or love this movie are not like fans of tennis, but I'm not like a big fan of tennis or like that, but I have had an appreciation for tennis for a while. So seeing a good tennis movie with also like really good fucking drama, like the drama of this movie is so fucking good, and the acting's great, and I don't know, it just felt like watching the best fucking gossip ever. That's what watching the movie felt like. It felt like a really good gossip, and I love that. So I recommend seeing Challengers. Challengers is great. Go watch it. Fuck. Okay, guys, I'm interrupting this program with a problem. I've said all the numbers incorrect now.
Hey guys, it's editing Dayton again, on a different day. I am just gonna skip this part where I try to figure out what I'm gonna do to fix this. Because I solved that problem. I got you, Dayton. You just chill, sit back and relax, Dayton. I got you. It was nice seeing you guys again. Hopefully this is the last time I show up. I don't remember what I said for the rest of this, though, so we'll see.
But number 4, then, X-Men 97. I have talked about this, 3 times in a row? I even, in this thumbnail, for last month, I didn't even change it from the month before, where in the top left is the X-Men 97 thing. And I think it'd be funny if I keep it this time, too. Except people might be like, oh, that's so repetitive. But I'm finding it very fun. And it is repetitive. It is less for me to do, but it's very funny, and I'm gonna just do it for the goofs and the gags, and for the lack of extra work. That is also a factor. So look how fucking monochrome I am. just on my fucking fit right now. Shit's crazy. I'm just like the most neutral colored person ever right now. These things are slightly green. I feel like it looks more like it in person. But yeah, I am very, with the wall too, it's just crazy. And yeah, X-Men 97, very good show. Everyone should watch this. If you like X-Men, you have to watch this. It's crazy how good it is. I've gone on about this for the third month in a row now, but this shit is crazy. And I feel like if I were to tell someone that the X-Men animated show they brought back from the 90s is like the best television I've watched all year, they'd be like, what the fuck? How is them bringing back a show like 30 years later? Not 30 years yet, but almost 30 years later. Somehow, like, how is that good? Like, how is that great? To me, it did not expect it to be very good. I expected it to be perfectly okay television. Perfectly okay. I expected it to be just a little bit worse or about the same level as the show before. And the show before was good, but I was not expecting them to like take it beyond that. I feel like they just evolved the show. They took advantage of the fact that they have so much better technology now, and I feel like they just did things that they couldn't have then, but also kept everything that worked from the show, and then just improved on everything that was not able to be as good as it could be now. And it's just crazy. The action's so good, the drama's so good, the tension's so good, everything's so good. It's also like, this shit's just so like political. It's crazy. It's so fucking political. I mean, the X-Men always have been, but if you told me that the X-Men show coming back now, like the bringing it back, and it would have been so, like, it would hammer home on like the political and philosophical aspects of X-Men so hard, I would have been shocked. Because I thought it was totally just Disney being like, oh, we got this nostalgic property that we could bring back and people are gonna fucking watch it and love it because they have so much nostalgia for it, and we really don't even have to try. We really don't have to, because people are gonna watch it anyways because they love this show. We have to make just the same show that it was back then, and we could honestly make it a little worse. And also, being the way, like, this shit's being run by Disney right now, and they're in here just like saying tolerance is extinction, and like spewing the most like white supremacist as rhetoric of all, not the actual, like, not a positive way, but like they are like so locked in on like every single possible like analogy you could use mutants for. Like, they're so locked in on it. And especially episode 5, I already talked about episode 5 because it literally was, I'm pretty sure I had it in the last video, just as like its own thing. Like, episode 5 was its own video, like its own placement, just that episode. It's insane. I highly recommend everyone watching the show. It's the best television I've seen all year. And probably will be till the end of the year. I can't think of any other TV shows that are coming out this year that would change that. If The Last of Us Season 2 comes out this year, that might be a problem then for it. But I can't think. Oh, The Boys is coming out too. I love The Boys. I don't know if The Boys will be able to top this, though. To be honest, it'd be hard. Also, the camera angle is not going to be the same at all this entire video. I've moved around this one spot so much, but it also has been 45 minutes that I have been recording this. It usually does not take this long. And now to number 3, Spider-Man. I watched the first Spider-Man with my girlfriend, and because she had never seen them. She had never even seen, like, she didn't know anything about Spider-Man, to be honest. She knew literally nothing. And so I thought it'd be so fun to watch Spider-Man with someone who, like, was watching it for the first time, because I don't even remember the first time I watched this movie. Because this is kind of like the first movie I loved as a kid. Like, I loved this movie before I even remember having memories. So I kind of, like, gained consciousness with already loving this movie, and so that was very fun. And yeah, we had a fun time. I love this movie, but the craziest thing is I think I like the second one more now. I always stood by the fact that I liked the first one more. I always stood by this, and I know that the second one is like praised for how amazing it is. And I think that just as a kid, obviously the first one is way more, like, it's definitely more of the one that a kid would like more. It makes sense for a kid to like the first one more. I think the nostalgia has blinded me until this point that Spider-Man 2 is definitely better. 100% it's better. So, number 2, Spider-Man 2. Great transition, Dayton. Great fucking transition. This movie fucks. This movie goes crazy. I don't need to tell you. This movie's so old. If you've wanted to watch this movie, you've already seen it. So you already know that it's good. This movie goes crazy. I think it's so exciting and so good, and everything about it's so good. And it's just like perfect cinema. This is what movies were meant to be. Spider-Man 2 with Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus. That is cinema. That is fucking cinema. It's pizza time, bitch. Number 1. We're at our final spot. Woo, woo, woo. Cheers, woo. It's felt like I've been recording this video forever. But we're not done yet, though, because I feel like this one might delve into a lot of talking. But the number 1 thing that happened this month was the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef drama rap diss tracks battles. This was easily the most exciting thing that happened this month, because it's probably the most exciting thing that's happened in like music this year. Like the week of all the diss tracks, now it's not as exciting. 100% not as exciting because it's over. But like the week of everything kind of happening was crazy, and it was all I could think about. Like, it genuinely did take over my mind, because it was just so shocking that things had progressed to this point. It was just so shocking to me. And I'm also a very big Kendrick Lamar fan, so obviously this is like the first time that I've ever seen like a diss track battle, like back and forth, where I like had a horse in the race. And so there felt like an extra level of anxiety or anything. I mean, it wasn't really like I do not have like a parasocial relationship with Kendrick Lamar. Like, you know, like I do not, like if he's doing bad shit, or if he is like I did not go in being like, oh my god, Kendrick's gonna absolutely decimate this, or like I did not go in being like, Kendrick, like no matter what, I was gonna support Kendrick. I was not going in like that, which I think was what I was worried about, because I was like, I really like Kendrick to not fuck this up so bad that I'm kind of like, I don't really want to be a fan of Kendrick. You know, like I like being a fan of Kendrick Lamar. Being a fan of Kendrick Lamar is great. And I really didn't want to have to not be. And to be honest, that might be one of the best times you could have been a Kendrick Lamar fan, and one of the worst times you could have been a Drake fan. Oh my god. As much as in the time people were arguing back and forth about who won, I think it's very obvious that Kendrick Lamar won. Everyone knows this, and everyone has accepted this now. And like, at this point, I don't need to explain to you anything about it. I just explain my experience going through it, to be honest. But I remember specifically the night that Meet the Grams came out after Family Matters, because I remember I listened to Family Matters instantly as soon as it came out. I was in the middle of watching After Sun, which I love that movie. Everyone go watch After Sun, please. It would have been this list, but I did not finish it because of this. But Family Matters drops while I'm in the middle of watching this movie. Very sad movie too, by the way. And Family Matters releases. I watched that. I thought Family Matters was a good Drake response track. I thought for Drake, it was a good... Come here, guys. I thought for Drake... Hey, guys. I thought for Drake, it was a good response track. And I was like, this is good enough. The Drake fans can say Drake released a good song. I didn't think it was like so good that it was gonna sway Kendrick fans necessarily to take Drake's side. But I thought it definitely evened out the playing field in the public eye. That did not last very long though, because then Meet the Grams dropped, and my shock and awe, that released and while it was happening, I was so just like shocked. And that is just like the only time I can remember feeling that kind of way with music was the first time I listened. Was when the Heart Part 5 dropped. It was a very similar feeling when the Heart Part 5 dropped, and everyone, I was watching a live stream. Shout out to Dillo Pillow. Well, I was watching Dillo Pillow's live streams that he used to do back like 2 years ago, where he would listen to people's music. And I remember I was in this live stream, and then someone came in saying that Kendrick dropped and that Kendrick had released the thing. And then I remember watching it in this live stream where everyone was freaking out and just being like shocked, and then being like, oh my god, this is so good. And it was the exact same feeling I had with Meet the Grams. The exact same feeling. And the only other time that I remember feeling similar to that too was when Mr. Morale the Big Steppers came out. That one did not have as much shock because I was prepared for it, so it's a little different because it did not have the same level of shock. There were shocking elements throughout the album though, obviously, because I hadn't heard any of it before, and no one had. But yeah, I think that Kendrick he has a way of just like surprising you with his decisions, but they also then are like, oh wait, this is like the right move. This is like the right move. And it's just so impressive. end.
Hey guys, Editing Dayton back here. I thought it'd be fun if I quickly did a little ranking of all the songs. Okay, let's start. Like That. The first thing that came out, I think Like That. This is not really like that much of a diss track, especially compared to other things. I'll put it at A. Because I do really like the song, but I do think that, like, obviously it's not much of a diss track. And I like the song, but it's also still not like the most exceptional song I've ever heard or anything. Like, I think A tier is fine for it. The J. Cole one, embarrassing, D. I need F. Because some are worse. Okay. I'll put it at D though. Push-Ups, I think is a solid B. I think Push-Ups is fine. It's a perfectly okay song. I think it was kind of a good start for Drake. It put Drake in a good position. Next, Champagne Moments. I never listened to the Rick Ross one, so I'm just gonna ignore that one. Tailor Made Freestyle that's F tier, and I think we all know this. What about Euphoria? Because Euphoria I do think is great, and it's definitely in the top. I think I put Euphoria in A, but I think I put it above Like That, because I don't think it's an S tier. I think there is a tier above it in terms of diss tracks. 616 in LA I think is a B tier. I would take Push-Ups over it, to be honest. I like it as a decision in terms of like a diss track battle. I like the decision of taking the Drake title idea, and I also like the idea of Kendrick doing that before Drake does it, because I think it was pretty obvious. At least I thought it was such an obvious choice for Drake to label one of his the Hard Part 6, because it's a good choice, and he did do it. But I think it adds a little less excitement to it if Kendrick days and days before that does the same kind of thing where he steals the other guy's title. So Family Matters, I think Family Matters is A tier, and I'd actually put it above Like That, even though I do think that there is, if I were to go through all these songs and talk about specifically the disses that they make, I do actually think I would take Family Matters down a little bit, because I do think lots of the disses that he makes, specifically, we're talking specifically to Kendrick, because I do think he cooks A$AP Rocky a little bit, but also A$AP Rocky still cooks him by, having children with Rihanna. But I do think that from a rapping point of view and from like beat selection and stuff like that, this is as good as Drake could possibly do for a diss track. And I full-heartedly believe that in this situation, I think this is the best thing he could have done. Meet the Grams, definitely S tier. I do think it's easily the best diss track out of all of them. Then we got Not Like Us. Not Like Us is a banger. I put it a little bit below Meet the Grams just because it's more like Kendrick taking like a victory lap type of energy to it. I think those two are like the only S tier ones. I think the BBL Drizzy beat, I'd put that up in A tier. It's a very catchy beat. I mean, I hear people singing it and stuff. I know a lot of people who have it like stuck in their head. The Heart Part 6, I would put it with J. Cole's. I think it's on the same level of J. Cole's. There's like a lot of dumb decisions made by Drake here. Same with J. Cole in terms of how they write the diss. Because like J. Cole, a big part of his problem was he attacked Kendrick's albums and made this whole conversation over like people being like, which one's the one that people gas but it puts them to sleep? Like, which one's that one? Is it Good Kid, Mad City or Pimp Butterfly? People are talking about which one he means, and in both case scenarios, everyone's like, that's such a dumb thing to say. Bad idea. And the Hard Part 6, I think Drake just like, he has some bad lines in there. His response to all of Kendrick's kind of accusations, like, and I think him just being like, oh, actually, by the way, you think you got insider information? Well, actually, I gave you the information, but I'm not going to capitalize on that when it happened. Instead, I'm going to say it in a diss track like 4 days later about how actually I gave that information, instead of saying it right when you say that information. Which just, even if he did leak that information, it makes it hard to believe he did. Like, that's the problem. If he did leak it, he's dumb, because he did not capitalize on it. And if he didn't leak it, then he's lying, because he has nothing to say. And he harps back on the same shit that he said about Kendrick before that didn't really sway anyone, even though it's like, it's scathing accusations, like he's saying he's beating Whitney. but he also like was wrong about things on the song, like the Mother I Sober part, which I think even just the Mother I Sober part alone is like, it just puts this diss track down there. But I do think this is better than Taylor Made Freestyle. And know what? I'll rank Champagne Moments in C tier since I got nothing there. That will fill out my thing. I feel like C tier for that is fair. C tier for Rick Ross being funny during the whole situation is what that is for. But yeah, that's editing Dayton. This probably took way longer than I thought it was going to take.
But yeah, that is May. That's May. We made it here. Congratulations. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Remember that you are loved, probably by somebody at least. I would assume, and that's a beautiful thing. And if you're not loved by anyone, then you're loved by me. Unless they have a good reason to not love you. Actually, I'm gonna need to know the reason why people don't love you first before I love you, okay? Like, if the reason is that no one loves you because you don't got anyone around to love you, that's different. But if people don't love you because you're a fucking asshole, I don't love you then, okay? I'm glad we have established this. So, let me know in the comments why people don't love you, and I'll respond with whether or not I love you, okay? So thank you for being here. Been a wonderful time as always, and see you at the end of June.